All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting data vlog. This is data vlog 2025, number 139. And today, some came early. Not me. Stop it. No. No. This. You know what this is? This is from this small indie studio called Darrington Press. It is my physical copy of Daggerheart. It came a day early. I'm super, super excited. And I'm not opening it on this video. I will be doing an unboxing video for tomorrow's daily vlog because it doesn't officially launch until tomorrow. And I have no obligation to not show it off right now. I've signed no NDA. I have I don't really have a relationship with Critical Role, but I like them. I have a degree in marketing. I've worked in sales. I know how much work goes into a launch day. So, out of respect for all of the people that have worked on this, y'all aren't going to get to see it till tomorrow. But tomorrow, like literally, as soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm going to film an unboxing video and I will just upload it tomorrow. So that, yeah. So anyway, I'm super excited about this. However, and that also means that in addition to my unboxing video tomorrow, I will guarantee you there will be an in-depth review for Daggerheart on launch day. I've got it a day ahead of time. So after doing my unboxing, I'll be able to read through the whole book, look at my new cards, and actually do a full in-depth review. Now, I generally prefer to do in-depth reviews with digital copies because it's easier for me to do, but I want to have this out on launch day. So prepare for 2 videos tomorrow, an unboxing of the physical stuff, and then a full-on in-depth review so you guys can figure out if you want to buy it. From everything that I've seen thus far, I have a hard time thinking it's not going to be a recommendation, but who knows? Like, again, lots of stuff can happen between playtesting and the final product. Lots of things can change. I've got a good feeling about this. So, that being said, that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about something that you can do to make people's lives better. Specifically, the Kindler. So, I have a friend. This friend works in a school, but is not technically a teacher. They do other stuff in this school. I try to leave identifying information out about them, but it sounds really weird. They're a speech and language pathologist. It absolutely essential thing. They're wicked smart, man. And they're super, super cool. Love them to death. So, because of the evil person that I am, I got them introduced to role-playing games in general. And then, I don't know if they actually played before me, but I definitely got them re-excited about them if I wasn't their kind of introduction point. So, because they worked at a school, and they, wanted to help out the kids, they decided that they were going to start a D&D club at the school. This is a fantastic thing to do for a number of reasons. They've actually done studies and things like that. And they've actually discovered that kids, I don't know if it was specifically kids or just people in general. I'll go with the more broad. People that play tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons tend to score higher when empathy is measured. Now, how do you measure empathy? Got no freaking clue, but some psychologist knows how to do it, and they did it, and it's part of this study. They found that playing D&D can make you more empathetic. And one of the kind of requirements of being an extremely bad person is having very little to no empathy. people that can't empathize with other people, that they can't kind of put themselves in other people's shoes and understand that, other people can be having bad times on the same day that they're having bad times and stuff like that. They become horrible, disgusting people. And I'm not talking about like psychopaths and serial unalivers and stuff like that. No, I'm talking about Karens and, all of those horrible people that you meet. Basically, I'm talking about Dolores Umbridge. One of my favorite examples in the world of a good villain is Dolores Umbridge. And the reason why, there was, I can't remember if it was an interview or it was just a conversation that I saw on like Reddit or something, but people were talking about how most people hate Dolores Umbridge more than Voldemort. And there was a really succinct, or a really well written out response, which is basically the idea of Dolores Umbridge is the villain that we see every single day. Every single person has met a Dolores Umbridge. This person with very, very little empathy that finds a way to put themselves into any sort of position of power and then abuses that power to feel important. The comparison was like Voldemort is literally magic Hitler. Like that's what he is. He's someone that's obsessed with the supremacy of a single type of people that are decided entirely upon their birth, and he wanted to exterminate everyone that was not part of his master race. That's Hitler in a nutshell. So by orders of magnitude, he is the worst kind of person that could exist. Dolores Umbridge is a busybody and a bully. That's all she really is. She's a busybody and she's a bully. She does some questionable things, like eventually she threatens that she's going to use the Cruciatus Curse, which is illegal. It's the equivalent of committing a wizard felony. But she never actually does it. And another kind of really interesting thing about her, I think it's it's the last book, the movie of it. I'm not sure if this is how it is in the book because I never actually read the last book. I stopped reading after, I think, Goblet of Fire. When they go down to the Wizengamot trial room, there's all these Dementors above her, and she is giving off a Patronus charm to keep them at bay, a relatively powerful one with how well it is doing that, and the fact that she's kind of absent-mindedly keeping it up. The interesting thing about the Patronus charm lore-wise is Death Eaters can't do it because they don't really have happiness, and it requires an extremely strong, happy, pleasant emotion, and they're just these kind of collections of negative feelings and emotions. So the fact that Dolores Umbridge can do that shows that she cares so little about the people that she hurts that it doesn't affect her in any way, shape, or form. She is the hero in her own in her story. She thinks she's the good guy, and because of that, her delusion is so strong and her empathy is so non-existent that she believes that she's the good guy, and because of that, she can produce a Patronus. So to get back to that, starting a D&D club at a school is a fantastic way to reduce the number of assholes in the world. It will not completely remove assholes from the world. I know quite a few people that play Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop RPGs that are still assholes. It's not a foolproof method. However, by starting them off when they're young and teaching them empathy and things like that, empathy tends to grow the more experience that you have. So if you start them at a young age with lots of empathy, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, with a few rare exceptions. So starting up a D&D group at a school, with the school's permission, I have to make this emphasis. You really do need to work with someone at the school. If you just show up at a school with, a bunch of books going, hey, you want to play some Dungeons and Dragons? You are going to leave that school very quickly. More likely than not with a new set of cool metal bracelets. But work with a school, start up a D&D program. So that's not where this story ends. The fact that they started a D&D program that's super, super cool. Somebody went in because they had all these books and things for the D&D program. Somebody went in, stole their stuff, and destroyed the stuff that they didn't steal. Which means the D&D program is kind of screwed. Do you absolutely need books in order to play D&D? Absolutely not. Technically, if you want to play D&D right now, the only thing that you need is access to the internet at some point to download the basic set or the SRD, whatever you want to use. It's free, and then just some pencils, paper, and dice. You can make your own character sheets. You can do everything like the SRD or the basic set has enough that you can play Dungeons & Dragons. However, it's a lot harder to do with nothing, especially if you've been running things from books and stuff like that, and especially if you have new kids just showing up. And another thing that can feel really, really bad, and this is coming from someone that went to schools with a little bit less, let's say, is having something that is yours, in school, having your own little kind of in-group that you get to belong to, and then seeing that in-group just get destroyed, something stolen from them, it makes you feel absolutely horrible. And with school funding the way that it is, there was very little chance that they were going to be able to rebuy, especially since a lot of D&D books, it's expensive. To just get the core book set for 5.5 is what? It's like $180, $160, somewhere around there. It's really expensive. So there's very little chance that anything good was going to come out of this. And then, out of nowhere, another local D&D group heard that this school had their D&D group just kind of ransacked, and they went and donated a ton of books. My friend sent me a picture of all the books that they got. They have the 2014 Monster Manual Dungeon Master's Guide, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, Tyranny of Dragons, the Icewind Dale book, I can't remember, Rime of the Frost Maiden, there we go, Quest from the Infinite Staircase, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, a bundle of official character sheets, all 3 of the 2024 D&D core books, 2 copies of the starter set, the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, because there's been a couple of them, and then a blind box of minis. It looks like a big old bag with a bunch of dice sets in it, not just a random assortment of dice, but a bunch of dice sets, and then a book that I haven't seen before called the Game Master's Book of Traps, Puzzles, and Dungeons. So all this stuff, I don't know if it was prompted or not or anything like that, but the fact that, that is hundreds of dollars worth of product. That's an expensive thing. And again, schools are already having trouble funding the school. Extracurriculars that don't make them money, which I'm gonna pop this bubble right now. Dungeons and Dragons will not make a school money. It's just not something that's going to happen ever. Not something like a football program that makes tons of money. If anyone didn't know, the reason high school football is as popular as it is because it makes a crap ton of money depending on your high school. Boosters, which are basically people that donate to the school, and alumni will donate things specifically for football teams. If your football team is good, it will garner more money. They sell concessions at football games and stuff like that. Sports programs in general tend to make money for the most part. You want to know things that don't make money? Dungeons and Dragons programs and music programs. So they tend to be kind of neglected because they're just costs. And a D&D program is significantly cheaper to run than a music program. That's another myth to dispel right there. I remember when I was in high school, it's gotten better now. When I was in high school, due to the fact that bassoons were made from a particular type of wood that only grow in a particular part of Europe. And there was a fire in the forest where they normally harvest that wood. Um, Bassoons became very, very expensive to the point where if you wanted a single bassoon, the minimum you would pay was $80,000. Not kidding here. They used to be super expensive. Nowadays, they have synthetic materials they can make bassoons out of that actually sound good. That was the other reason why they were so expensive, is if you made them from other things, they just sounded like crap. Now they can have synthetic bassoons that actually sound pretty decent. And those go for like $3 to $5 grand. Instruments are still expensive as crap. So anyway, I got to find out about this wonderful little thing, and I was super, super excited. So I wanted to say to you guys, first of all, if you have kids or relatives that are school aged, and you have a connection to an elementary, a middle school, even a high school, if you have either extra D&D books that you no longer use, or you're willing, and this tends to be even more more special to the kids, if you're willing to shell out money to get new books or something like that, you really can make a massive difference. Generally, what you need to do is you will probably have to contact the school, go, hey, I'd love to start a D&D club for you. Guys, you're probably going to have to partner with a teacher, bare minimum, and there's a chance that the school won't be into it. But if you can get people into it and excited, again, first of all, it's a great way to, extracurriculars in general are good for kids, especially if they live in more kind of impoverished neighborhoods and things where crime is a little bit more readily available, let's say. Extracurriculars and things like that are fantastic ways that kids are able to stay out of things that they really shouldn't be getting into. And again, Dungeons and Dragons makes you more empathetic, or tabletop games in general makes you more empathetic. So yeah, if you have the ability and you have some kind of a connection to a local school, call them up. Again, do not just show up with books and go, hey, you want to roll some dice? You're going to get in trouble. They will probably put you on a list of some sort. But call up your local school and go, hey, I would love to get you guys some stuff so you can set up your own D&D D&D club. So, what do you need to start a Dungeons and Dragons club? I hear you asking. Well, in general, if you wanted to start up an actual club, bare minimum, you want at least a player's handbook. If you are going to be going through the effort of setting up a club, I would say get the complete core book set. If you want to do 2014 or 2024, it doesn't really matter. These kids, they're probably not going to know a ton about Dungeons & Dragons anyway. They won't realize that the 2024 version is not that great. So you can get to the 2024 version. It'll be perfectly fine. I would highly recommend go to FedEx or Office Max or something, and bring a printable copy of a character sheet. Either as a digital file or the actual thing. Go to the print department and go, hey, can I have 100, 200? You don't need a ton, but enough that they're going to have plenty for a little while. Can I have 100 copies of this? They're 100% free to print. They're not copywritten or anything like that. So you can go literally anywhere. And black and white copies are generally pretty cheap. You're generally looking at only a few. I guess it could be more expensive now. Used to be, you were only looking like somewhere between like 5 to 10 cents a copy. So not an exorbitant amount. And then also buy a big old thing of pencils, preferably pre-sharpened, and some kind of pencil sharpener that will withstand some abuse. Because at school, they're going to get abuse. It's just how it works. So yeah, get them some character sheets, at least the 3 core books. It wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe pick up one of the adventure collections that exist. Um, again, Quest from the Infinite Staircase, or there's tons of them that I can't think of anyone, or just one of the adventure modules that are a little bit better. Wild Beyond the Witchlight tends to be a pretty decent one. It's fun, it's interesting, it's for low level characters. Strixhaven, I think, for a school environment is really great because it's a magic school. But get them something that they can play, and then go to town. If you can find a way to make it self-sustaining, like maybe have the kids, pool together, once a year to buy a new adventure to run, or do Adventures League modules. There are ways to do that. These are all great ways to, again, improve kids' lives and make the world a slightly better place. One of the biggest hurdles that most teachers have is just a lack of funding. And it has nothing to do with the fact that schools are not well funded. We have spent more on schools, and the Department of Education has spent more and more money every single year, and less and less and less of it gets to the teachers every single year. So asking the government to fix this is never going to happen. The government is remarkably good at overcomplicating things and spending significantly more money on things that really don't do anything. But what can really, really help is by doing stuff like this. Sponsor a D&D program. You quite literally could just buy them a hardcover adventure once or twice a year and have plenty of stuff for the teachers or whoever's running it to run all year. Especially if if they get good enough that they can start running their own adventures and things like that. And then you can just do things like buying them third-party monster manuals, if effectively, and stuff like that, to just give them stuff that they can run on their own. And the kids might start getting to the point where they're trying to support the club and things like that. But stuff like that is really, really great. I know, again, I used to work in office supplies. I know the stores, the company that I used to work for, which shall remain nameless, used to have things where you could sponsor a classroom during back to school time, where literally you would pay money, or you'd buy supplies, and it would go towards this particular classroom, getting them stuff that, again, is extremely useful, that just the money doesn't get down to the teachers themselves to do things like have pencils for students that either forget them or just don't have the ability to get them, and other school supplies, notebooks. Notebooks were crazy during back to school times. We would sell tens of thousands of notebooks just in the store that I worked at. Like, it was nonsense. We would get entire pallets that were like anywhere from 6 to 8 foot high that were nothing but notebooks. It was just a giant, massively heavy stack of bound paper. And we would go through those in less than a week during back to school time. It was nonsense. So, yeah, specifically supporting schools is a fantastic, wonderful thing, especially public schools. Private schools, I have no idea what struggles private schools have to go through, because I have never gone to a private school. And I don't really know anyone that teaches at a private school or is involved in at a private school. Again, I was a band geek, and then I became a theater geek. I minored in music when I went to college. I actually technically finished my minor before I dropped out, because I just took all of my music courses in the first 2 years. So I technically completed my minor. I just never finished my major the first time in theater. So, I mean, technically I have a minor in music that I was never given. But like half my friends went into education, which is not a fun field to go into, let me tell you. Not that being a music educator is rough. It's an amazing experience, and you are literally changing kids' lives. But the first thing on the chopping block in every school I have ever been to, talked about ever, is music programs. Always, 100% of the time. It's just how it works. So anyway, I thought this was a heartwarming story. I thought it was really, really cool. So, yeah. Oh, and dice. I guess that's the other kit piece you need. Get them dice. Get them lots of dice. You can get Chessex dice, generally, or it used to be. You can get them for like $7 a piece. So if you get like 5 or 6 sets of dice, again, you're looking at like, $50 tops on dice, and then a few $100 to get some books, and then you have an entire program set up. And again, especially for people like me, where I'm on disability, it's a lot of money. But spread it out over a few months, or get other people to help you out. Again, most schools are going to have, at least dozens, if not hundreds of students. If you get to big school districts, might be thousands. I know one of the schools that I went to, I think my graduating class is in the 600s, somewhere between like 400 and 600. And the district that I came from before, I think they had a graduating class of maybe it's like 800 or 900. Maybe my graduating class is a little smaller. Maybe I was only in a couple, a few hundreds. But anyway, yeah, go do something nice for kids at school. It sounds creepy, but yeah, if you really want to improve the world, like everybody's always saying, oh, we need to save the world for the children, You know what's not going to save the world? Throwing tomato sauce on priceless works of art, never going to save a single thing. Breaking into stores in protest, never going to save a damn thing. Screaming at people that disagree with you, never going to save a damn thing. Starting a D&D club at a school might take that kid that was going to grow up to be another one of those people that just screams at you when they're in line at the grocery store for taking too long. Or one of those people that parks in handicap spots when they're not handicapped, and turns them into an actual good human being that might be able to change the world. Like this is how you really change the world, is you get people to realize that even if you disagree with someone, they're still a human being that deserves to be treated with just the tiniest modicum of respect and dignity. And understanding that just because someone has a different political belief or religious values, or has a different sexual orientation or a different way that they identify, that they are not evil, horrible, disgusting, subhuman monsters that deserve everything that comes at them. No, understand that they are going through just as much nonsense as you are, because you both live in the same messed up monstrosity of a society that runs the entire world. There is not a single country in the world that does not have nonsense going on a regular basis. The world itself is nonsense. And the way that we fight against nonsense and bigotry and hatred and war and all of these horrible, disgusting things is through empathy, compassion, and love. And if by donating some books that you don't use, or some money that you can afford, big emphasis on here is that you can afford it. Don't go into debt for this. That creates bigger problems. If you can make the world a better place by donating some books that you don't use as much, or spending a little bit of money, why wouldn't you want to do that? It will have a significantly bigger impact than almost any protest you have ever been to. I will guarantee this. I'm not saying protests are bad or they're pointless. I will say a lot of the protests that have happened on every side of the political equation have been stupid. In the past 10 years, it has blown my mind how just useless people have become about protesting and how to do it properly. So I'm not saying protests are bad. I'm saying do it right. And to be blunt, I think D&D programs could cause better change than a lot of the things that people are protesting right now. Create empathy. Because here's the crazy thing. In 70 years, when these kids are in their 40th year in Congress, the kids that we're investing in right now, and we're teaching them to be empathetic, and teaching them that a disagreement in opinion does not mean that the other person is a bad person, but that you have a disagreeing opinion, and that's okay. Those kids are eventually, hopefully, going to become politicians. They're going to become industry leaders. They are going to become educators. Like, that is how we change the world. Not by browbeating and sometimes really beating people that we don't agree with. Get kids to be more empathetic, to understand compassion, to understand that just because someone thinks differently than I do doesn't mean that they're wrong and I'm right, or that they're bad and I'm good. And the best thing to do is find a way to work together to come to a solution that helps everybody, which are basic tenets of any tabletop RPG. We do that, then yeah, tomorrow the world is going to be much the same that it is today. And next year and the year after that, not a ton is going to change. But 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line, when these kids are in positions where they can start changing the world, and more importantly, they are teaching their children that empathy and compassion. That's how the world changes. So I realize this gets a little bit preachy. You know, the idea of start a D&D club and change the world is kind of dumb. But, I mean, we've got studies that show it's a real thing. Yeah. Also, my friend just got their D&D club a bunch of new books. I think that's super, super cool. So, anyway, I'd like to hear from you guys. First of all, do any of you guys either have children that are in school or have some sort of connection to a school? Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you work at the school in another capacity. Maybe you're custodial staff or lunch staff or any of the other. Like, a lot of people don't realize just how many people work at schools that have nothing to do with being a teacher. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any better suggestions for a kit for a D&D program, the stuff that you need in a kit to start a D&D program, put that in the comments too. Because I would love to be able, the next time a friend goes, hey, I want to start a D&D program, I can go, hey, this is what you need. So, yeah. Otherwise, it's all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.